Take the boy and go hide in the loft.
I'm here to collect Mr. Hawthorne's rent! Shut that please! Before I get you fucking squeal now! Christ almighty! Johnny Fletcher busted into a farmhouse on his property.
You bring me back that something false.
Well, well, look at what we have here. Please don't kill me.
Gentleman John Fletcher! Damn it!
Johnny Fletcher! Don't make me chase you!
I didn't kill nobody. I didn't murder that family.
That don't break me down to me. We're bounty hunters. You're a wanted man. Here.
Out of the night that covers me, black is the pit from pole to pole. I thank whatever gods may be for my unconquerable soul. In the fell clutch of circumstance, I have not winced nor cried aloud. Under the bludgeoning of chance, my head is bloody, but unbowed. Beyond this place of wrath and tears looms but the horror of the shade. And yet the menace of the years finds, and shall find me, unafraid. It matters not how straight the gates, how charged with punishments the scroll. I am the master of my fate. I am the captain of my soul.
Stand down and no one has to die today.
This only ends one way.
They'll kill you all.
Why not take your chances in a prison cell? Alright, I'm coming out.
My lord, I have a report.
Speak.
Our latest assassination attempt on Lady Nocturne has failed.
I can see stronger measures are needed. Begin phase 2.
Captured! The notorious Lady Nocturne has been brought in through the valiant efforts of the Void Cobras.
Get on the damn person.
Prisoner, take 5 steps, then stop and turn your right.
But the pirates of Velix Mortis are far from defeated.
My lord, I have a report.
Let's cut to the chase, since we both know that this isn't a social call and you didn't come here to waste time.
Fine. High Command is gambling that the attempt on your life by your so-called friends has made you willing to cooperate. Am I wasting my time now?
What fate will befall the disgraced former pirate?
The Minotaur sends his regards, traitor.
What does your High Command want, and what are they offering in return?
High Command wants many things, but it wants to show a good faith first.
Go.
Team 1, move up. Fire Team 2, covering fire.
Bravo Team 1, push up. Bravo 2, give us support.
What next for now infamous mercenaries, the Void Cobras?
I want every last pirate I used to run with dead. I don't want to be watching over my shoulder every hour of every day.
Now you die!
Will the Void Cobras become targets of Lady Nocturne's former pirate comrades?
Attention, crash override. This is Freighter Ebony Hawk. My ship just lost all power and thrust. We're going down. Mayday, mayday, mayday.
There truly is no honor among thieves. You rabble will turn on each other at the slightest provocation.
Okay, fine. Moving past you.
Find out on the next episode of Star Citizen Nocturne.
Jameson, you copy?
Touch me now, I don't want to live without you. Nothing's gonna change my love for you.
Jameson, we require immediate emergency extract.
I don't know, man. It looks kind of hot over there.
Of interest in my life to idiots.
Okay, got it working, Sarge.
Alright, Corporal. Good work. Follow me! Y'all remember what Sarge said? Stay together, keep comms clear, and the heads on the swivel.
Clear.
Okay, we're gonna secure it, then sweep the entire
me slack. Oh shit, I just saw something. Oh my god!
Get the hell out of here!
Get him off me! Get him off me! They're getting in my armor! Ah!
I got into collecting bounties when a gang of bandits bushwhacked my wife, my best friend Coyote, and me. Meet the Jones brothers.
Take a look at the situation in which you find yourself.
That's Joshua.
Can have real bad.
What's the Indian word for
Next to him is Rufus the Doofus.
Heck, I don't know.
You're just trying to make me look dumb.
Alright, I want to
Next
see
to him is
on the
Lyman.
ground.
Remember those faces.
And 6,
You'll see him again.
8 hands praising Jesus.
The other ones, well, ain't no use in introducing. They're all dead.
Run!
Obadiah, get the saddlebags!
I got him!
I later discovered the Jones brothers were all wanted men. I figured I might as well get paid for taking my revenge.
Man, we still wanted for justice.
Poster still on the wall?
So I hunted down the ones we didn't kill. Lyman, he sang like a bird. Rufus and Joshua were smuggling contraband down the river. Always to the same spot. I found a nice perch on a bluff above the river where I knew they would eventually be. During the war, I was a sharpshooter. Coyote's Whitworth came in handy. For weeks, I tracked them. Then I killed them.
here in Shenanigans. You can move the check.
If you like our content, we'd appreciate if you'd like, subscribe, and get notifications. Help us extend our reach by sharing our video content. And if you want to help us beat the algorithm, also leave us a comment on some of our videos. All right, we
Hi,
are
guys.
fucking live.
I've reached the
You're
panic
live.
crafting part of our evening.
The panic crafting part of your evening.
Yeah.
So, anything exciting happened today?
Oh, I have finished. So what I'm making are junk journals. So I finished a junk journal today. But that's about as exciting as it gets for me, Tim.
Oh, okay.
I've got my beverage, which is Bold Rock cider, which is my favorite cider. So it's a North Carolina cider, local.
I'm working on Vinny Gimlet. Not my first.
I'm going to do, I think, Jack and Ginger later if I am still drinking after.
Oh,
after
Matt is
9.
still on his African safari.
Nice.
Yeah, I meant to actually change that. Show up with a different one.
So, I assume South Carolina has gone for Trump as expected?
Did they officially call it?
I think so.
The polls officially are closing.
Poll closed at 7 for South Carolina.
What I'm showing is the Senate is 42 Republican, 32 Democrat. The House is currently reporting 38 Republican, 20 Democrat. And the states that look like they've called it are 90 electoral votes for Trump and 27 for Harris. And everybody needs 200. They need a minimum of 270 votes to win. So
We know that there's always the red mirage, as they like to say. So,
well, I guess there were some bomb threats in Georgia that have temporarily suspended voting. So I don't know if we're going to have results in the morning or not.
Breaking news just before we went on is that there are bomb threats in Westchester, PA at the vote processing center as the Russians continue to disrupt the election as much as possible.
fuck them. Fuck Russia.
Oh, also there's a hurricane
Guy.
in the Caribbean. Hurricane Raphael. So,
you know hurricanes aren't real.
Yeah, and it's a Democratic weather machine.
Right. The Cobra weather dominator. By the way, There's a Cobra Weather Dominator shirt in the store.
I was just about to say that. I saw that up on the store link.
Yeah, I finally managed to get a large enough render. The only one that I could find was like 400 pixels, and it was the interface, the design interface would not accept it. It's like you need a minimum of like 2,000 pixels. So I see Jose from Tequila Bar and Grill in Elkins, Alabama, is in our comments tonight. So thanks for tuning in, Jose. Appreciate the mezcal and the shirt.
Yeah. So
In the background is Cancun, Mexico this time.
I'll show you all some
Been
crafts.
some places.
We'll do a craft show and tell here in a second.
All right. Wait for these things.
Because
Oh,
this is
Steve
where we have.
Kornacki's the big board. I got to turn my attention.
All right,
Keep
what's
going,
the big?
B.
What does old Stevie say?
I'm talking Georgia.
Yeah, of course he is.
And I'm surprised to see Fox call Georgia for Harris already. They've got to be trying to get people to get out of line to think that it's over.
Yeah.
I mean,
So I've been panic crafting. This is one of my panic crafts. It is a junk journal. That's probably going to be a friend's thing, but I've got fun little pockets and stuff. So I've been folding pockets all day. I'll probably add more fun stuff to this, but for right now it's done. But with a cool pen picture. I'm sorry to bore y'all to death. I very much apologize, but this is all I can do.
what? No, you don't have to apologize for crafting on a fucking live stream. We are specifically here to detract from the fucking anxiety that. Yeah, it's like waiting for the results of the fucking STD test from the clinic.
Yeah, I have panic dyed, coffee dyed paper today.
I used to do that. Yeah, to make it look like parchment, right?
Exactly.
Tried to get
I
Ray
used to do that.
on camera too, but he wants no part of it. Sorry, all.
Tell Rand hello.
I've done coffee and tea. Are you doing it cold or with like cold coffee or hot coffee?
Cold mostly. It's instant. It works like a charm.
Oh, instant. Yeah, you're really trying to squirt the shit out of it.
Yeah, and it's honestly not like I don't drink coffee, so having instant coffee, it's not like I said. I bought the cheapest stuff I could find because why spend the money on something that you're just going to use to dye paper?
So, because you have mentioned instant coffee, I'm going to tell a story.
Okay.
This story is incredibly crude. It's what you would call politically incorrect. So I need to preface. No. Don't put this on me.
Okay.
So you know how the cost of living thing had a little splash screen for Master Sergeant Rob Carter. Rob Carter was my mentor, one of my first mentors in the Army, and he was this incredibly salty, very grizzled, very, very experienced senior NCO when I met him. And he was the most foul-mouthed, perverted, nastiest motherfucker on the planet. And we were out on what I think was about my second field problem after getting to my permanent duty station. And this was in the mid 90s. So we're out there in the field and
in the before time.
Yeah, in the before time. And MREs in those days came in this shit brown plastic wrapping. It was like dark chocolate colored, and it had a little packet on the inside that had like a little square of toilet paper, which I think doubled as a napkin as well, and it had like a packet of sugar, a packet of cream, some Tabasco sauce, and some gum that was allegedly supposed to like act like a, it would make you constipated so you wouldn't shit or whatever. It also had instant coffee in it, and you would basically heat up water in your canteen cup and then pour the instant coffee and the creamer and the sugar into it to make it palatable. And nobody liked the instant coffee except me. Like I made it one time, and Rob came up to me and he said, let's see if I can remember exactly the way that he phrased it. He was like, this is going to be so crude, and you may want to like fucking turn your speakers off for about 30 seconds.
No.
He said,
warned everybody.
It's so bad. He said, oh God, let's see, how did he phrase? He's like, instant coffee is like eating your sister's pussy. It tastes good, but you know that shit is wrong. So anytime somebody mentions instant coffee, that's exactly what I think of was Rob Carter and his foul-mouthed fucking...
We do.
Awkward silence.
Junk journaling. I mean, the junk journaling is about using up all the scraps and shit I have from past projects as much as anything. So I have a big bag of scraps that I'm trying to use up for that.
We've got Trump outperforming his 2020 numbers in some districts in Georgia. It's not what I want to see.
Nope. Have they all reported in, or are there still votes for that?
No, we're at 66% reported in.
Okay.
Yeah, there are not a lot of states that have reported in. There are projections, but...
We've got Trump up by 267,000 at the moment, but again, just 37% in Georgia.
We knew Georgia was tight back in 2020, so the fact that it's tight again, it's not surprising to any of us, right?
So let's see, we've got...
Pulling up my fun voter facts.
All right, here we go. All right. Let's see.
So I asked admin Tim to include some stuff about redemption in one of our videos, and I thought I'd give you a little more background on it. Does that sound good for everybody? So we're gonna start talking a little bit about Vicky's life experience. So after the 2016 election, I determined that just voting and saying who I was going to vote for on Facebook was not enough. So I got involved in a local organization called the South Carolina Progressive Party. And they weren't really a party so much as they were an organization that worked with a bunch of progressive organizations in the state of South Carolina to change around how things work here. One of the things that they offered that was maybe one of the best things they offered was something called the Muthafuckin School, which was where they taught you like real South Carolina history. So we got a copy of The People's History by Howard Zinn, and then we had our own textbook where we learned about things that happened in South Carolina. So one of the things they taught us about was the fact that in 1868, before the Confederates had gotten their voter rights back, South Carolina was run by black and represented in Congress and in the Senate by black men, including a gentleman named Robert Smalls.
Speaking of South Carolina, they have officially called it for Trump. I mean, we all knew it, but it's getting that in there. Sorry to interrupt.
No. Interrupt me as much as possible, but like, in fact, feel free to comment on my stuff. So in South Carolina, we had a constitution written in 1868 that essentially was beautiful, and it guaranteed education for every student in South Carolina. It was very progressive, guaranteed voter rights, etc. Well, 1872, the Confederates get their rights back to vote, and South Carolina is at that time a mostly black state. We have until 1920, the African American former enslaved population outnumbered the white people population, and we're one of the reasons that South Carolina specifically is one of the reasons that we had black people being like 1/5 of a person, which was lovely and something you just love your state being known for. But in 1872, the Confederates got their voting rights back, and it became something that across the country they called redemption. It was not fucking redemption, just so we're very clear. It was not fucking redemption, but it was the South Carolina and other Confederates getting their rights back. So they called it redemption, right?
We have another breaking entry. They're updating North Carolina's governor race with Josh Stein versus the black Nazi Mark Robinson. Robinson is expected to lose. Stein is projected to win.
Just killed my video.
58% of the vote with.
Because you moved the camera?
No, the fucking core on this thing is a piece of shit.
So that's good news for North Carolina in a presidential situation too.
It is.
Because if Stein is, people don't generally vote for things, but like Mark Robinson was awful.
But you didn't like that, did you?
He was really awful.
Be careful, he's in a mood right now.
Going back to my hello,
it's Mikey time.
Now shoot him on the head and his stab him in it. He
So
got
yeah,
it.
so I'll finish my story. So it will be quick about it. So they started a campaign of voter suppression.
You're gonna get
across,
I'm gonna get a Zerbert on camera.
So they started a campaign of voter suppression. There were 2 events that were basically massacres. Hamburg, which was a little town in South Carolina that no longer exists. I think it's under a lake. And Ellington, which also no longer exists. And they were essentially like a bunch of red shirts, which we described as basically Klansmen with red shirts instead of white hoods. Proceeded to attack a town of mostly black voters, and the black voters fought back. People were killed in one of the massacres where they have a
I'm not too optimistic about
a-
Missouri.
in one of the towns they have a monument, and it has the 6 white men who died and none of the black men who died, but they basically cold executed one of the black senators from South Carolina, state senators, and it was bad. So like that's what was happening in the 1872 election. That very much reminds me of the campaigns around what is happening here. Do we have any comments in the chat that want to questions about that? Matt or Elo or Tim, I know y'all are actively watching TV. But that's my voter fun fact, first one of the night. And voter suppression sucks, is what I want to say. So I learned about a bunch of other things too, which are super cool. At my Jessica Simpson school, but that was one that stuck with me and made me think of this election. There was two counties in South Carolina that sent in more votes than they had voters at the time. So that's always fun.
I'm back. Sorry, I had to go kill a spider for Mrs. Admin, Tim.
Okay, that's good. Amber Ruffin. Lisa said Amber Ruffin has a "How did we get here?" about disappearing black towns, driving them out, and turning the towns into lakes or parks like Central Park. Absolutely. There is a lake in Georgia. Tim, help me remember what's it called. It's
Lake Lanier.
Lake Lanier. That's super haunted, and they have black towns underneath it too.
Speaking of Georgia, there are 6 polling locations in DeKalb County, 5 in Fulton County, 1 in Gwinnett County that are extending their hours due to bomb threats, 2 in Cobb County, and 1 in Glenn County. So DeKalb, Fulton, Gwinnett, and Cobb are all around the Atlanta area. Atlanta basically sits in those counties. Gwinnett is northeast. DeKalb is kind of central Atlanta along with Fulton. Cobb County is north of Atlanta. And then Glenn County is all the way on the coast at, I believe, St. Simon or Jekyll Island, one of those places. So it's not even fucking near Atlanta. It's like a small... I don't know why you would choose Glenn County. That's like choosing to go to fucking Deadwood instead of New York City. It's so bizarre.
That's their...
Anyway.
We didn't just, call it into blue counties. We
Some stupid fucking commie named
Illinois.
Ivan is sitting in his little fucking bunker in Moscow and is like, oh, Glenn County, like Glenn Miller, must be important. We'll go there and call in bomb threat. You stupid fucking...
I'm going ahead and ordering my Domino's, just so everybody's wondering what I'm doing.
Anybody want to order me a pizza? Just kidding. I'm just kidding.
I mean...
I'm going to need to refresh my drink here in a minute. In the meantime,
one does.
I'm going to drink water.
Water is good for you. You should
I try to alternate so I don't get a fucking Charlie horse at 3:45 a.m. and wake up and can't go back to sleep. Which happened last night.
They're projecting North Carolina's governor to be called for Josh Stein.
Yeah, that's what we...
Yeah.
I was very excited
about that. Right,
yeah, nobody wants the black Nazi. Not even other Republicans. They're like, what the fuck is this weirdo? You could be black, or you can be a Nazi, but you can't be both. You can't be both in this state.
He decided to come in on the make the bold move and come in post-slavery.
Yeah, no. What it wasn't the slavery. It wasn't the Nazism. It wasn't being black.
The fetish porn.
It was the fact that he looked at transgender porn, and everybody else was like, "Oh, no, we can't have that. We can't. We don't want somebody doing our shit in here."
And then they had to delete their browser history.
Right, exactly.
What are y'all watching then? You got CNN and NBC going?
I'm not looking. I'm looking at the CNN website, but I'm not.
I've got MSNBC on one screen here, and I'm occasionally flipping some others on the other screen over there.
All right, I have CBS,
I'm also watching porn. Not gonna lie.
Well, I figured. I mean, that's every broadcast view, right?
Or they're panic drafting. So,
Oh, I have Univision. Do you want that?
Is it Trump just going down on a microphone? Is that?
No. Oh, so you know what? There is.
Of course there is. Of course there is. I'm sorry. I ever fucking lie. Why? Why do I curse myself?
All right. So it's a parody. It's Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump. And I'm pretty sure it's porn stars who were like big in the 80s that are now like in their 60s and whatnot.
No.
I think Nina Hartley is one of them. She's like from the golden age of anyway. Yeah, it's wild.
I know who that is.
It's wild. I watched like 3 minutes of it and I was like, don't think I'm gonna fap to this.
I put it on OAN
Round table pizza.
I'm just taking a look.
Oh, my
God,
Domino's
round table
order.
pizza since I was a kid.
Apparently, my Domino's is deciding not to let me order, which is very upsetting.
We had our Pizza Hut.
Next pulls are closing in about 6 minutes, a little less than 6 minutes.
All right.
Do I order a pizza? Or do
Your stomach is not happy. Do not order a pizza.
It is really not. But so I'm eating really plain chips over here.
Yeah, do not order a pizza.
You need the brat diet, my friend.
Ugh.
Bananas, rice, applesauce, toast.
I mean, I've got rice.
Be kind to yourself.
Where the hell did the dog go?
Oh, the hill? Okay. The hill has something live going on.
Out.
So I have some haunted, fun ephemera that I am using to create this junk journal.
What was on that one that you just showed?
It's Alice in the Wonderland.
Oh, okay.
But it is spooky as fuck.
Oh yeah, fairy tales used to be super, violent, disturbing.
German.
Before they were Disneyfied.
So I want to caution everybody that we're literally like an hour into polls having closed in less than half of the states. So these little podunk ass states that have like 1 and 2 votes, 3 and 4 votes, it's not the race. So it's going to swing back and forth, and it's we're not going to have, in all honesty, if I wake up tomorrow and we still don't have a verified, like ironclad, nobody's even tentatively got 270, I would not be surprised at all. If I wake up tomorrow and there is a declared candidate who definitely has 270 votes, I will suck my own dick on camera. And that's not even fucking possible. So take that for what it is. If I could, I'd never leave the fucking house, as they say.
They've got to be very, very cautious about calling things. And the states themselves are going to keep doing recounts provisionally as much as they can. Didn't they do that? Where was it? Wisconsin or Minnesota?
Yeah. The second that you declare a result as being valid, it is going to be challenged by whoever lost. Point blank.
Yeah. So they're going to try to be really cautious about that, and that's why it's going to take a while. At least that part of it.
So in 2020, the difference between 2020 and 2024 is history. In 2020, there was no precedent for what was going to happen. Also, who was the current president at the time? Dipshit fucking Velveeta Voldemort.
Yep.
2024, we already have... We know what could have happened in 2020 and what could have been so much worse. Also, who is the current sitting president? If you think for a second that dude is not fucking prepared, then you are fooling the fuck out of yourself, and nobody should ever listen to you ever again. 2024, the guy that's in the White House has full control over everything that fucking happens. And on top of that, the Supreme Court basically gave that dude, even though the ruling was for Trump, the Supreme Court gave the president, whoever the president may be at the time, carte blanche to do whatever the fuck he wants. So if you think that the Democrats are just sitting around there like, we don't know what's going to happen and we're not prepared, then you need to go outside and touch grass. Turn off your fucking computer, put down your phone, go outside, take off your shoes, put your toes in the grass, and just dig like fucking John McClane doing the carpet in Die Hard. And don't come back for 30 minutes. Breathe lots of fresh air.
In the Connecticut Senate race, they're calling Chris Murphy's race for him. That's expected. That is.
Yeah.
Retained D seat in the Senate.
He's a pretty solid guy. I like him.
One of the big differences between 2020 is also that there's not going to be nearly as many mail-in votes. That was part of the reason it took 4 days last time.
Yeah.
Was because there was so many of that going on. And this time they also changed laws, I think it was in Michigan, so that they can actually count their early votes ahead of time. so they're not going to be waiting on those.
Yeah, we tried that here in PA, and the GOP blocked it.
Of course they did. They want uncertainty. They
want
to
a
be
2-day
dicks
delay
about
so
this.
that Trump can claim that the voting is over, stop the count, sue to stop the count, et cetera, et cetera.
Menendez is still winning New Jersey, even though Menendez. Good stuff.
They're projecting Florida's Amendment 3, legalize marijuana, yes, is leading 55% to 45%, but they're calling it for no.
They are waiting for some areas that they're predicting to turn a certain way.
Right to abortion, number 4 for Florida, is up big.
Yep, I saw that too. Yep. I'm on ABC right now.
Yeah, so I got MSNBC
Marcia
up here.
Kaptur is ahead in Ohio. I think she was predicted to win that, but she is the Democrat, so that's good.
Yeah, she's expected to win.
Sherrod Brown is ahead with 40% in Ohio. That is also good. That's supposed to be a tight one.
Yeah, so is Bob Casey's race here in PA, but he's expected to win, but it's supposed to be close.
I just saw a thing that said that RFK Jr. is currently at Mar-a-Lago with Trump, and they're watching the race together. Can you imagine?
Oh my God!
Can you
fucking train wreck?
Yes.
I don't like either one of them, but I kind of, not gonna lie, I kind of feel bad for Donald Trump if he's sitting in a room with RFK. Like, can you imagine? The guy's probably just sitting there, and like, you know how every one of us has been in a room with somebody that we're like, we don't want to fucking hang out with that person. We're just like,
oh dear
God,
Lord.
please let this age. You're just like,
Oh,
yeah.
Look at the time.
Yeah.
I've got to go do the thing.
I got a thing.
What's that, honey? Yeah, hold on. I gotta go. I gotta go kill a spider. I'll be right back. And then, like 30 minutes later, sorry about that. Oh, what? It's still there.
Meanwhile, Melania's in New York, fucking her friends. So.
Yeah. It's like, bitch, your wife's not even here. You haven't seen your wife in 6 months. What the fuck are you talking about? Oh God.
Again, I don't understand how yes on legalized marijuana got more votes in Florida, but no is the winner.
That's weird. Our volume is weird. Somebody's saying our volume is weird. I don't know how to control
is it me?
that.
You're not hearing me very
Everybody
well?
but Tim is louder, is too quiet.
I'm always the loudest motherfucker in the room.
I mean, that's true.
Just Tim, okay? That's just Tim.
Yeah, check your mic volume on your sound settings.
I don't know
Everybody.
how to do that on my...
All right, are you on a Windows computer?
No.
You're not on a Windows computer, then I can't.
Right?
iPhone, yeah, what? That's probably why.
Maybe it's you.
Yes, technically it is, but no, it's. I'm on a desktop.
B is the hardest to hear. Do you guys hear me all right?
I can hear you, but you know.
You know what? That's all.
On my end, you're all loud, but I'm wearing headphones. So.
Yeah, I'm wearing headphones as well.
And you all sound the same. Oh, that's cute.
Yeah, I told you I'm panic crafting.
Do you like Max and Ruby? V? Did you ever watch Max and Ruby with any?
I also have like a
I did not.
streaming.
I think you would like Max
so
and Ruby. It just reminded me of it because of the Alice in Wonderland.
Yeah,
and I saw the bunny, and I thought it made me think about Max.
Oh,
and
mine's
Ruby.
not too bad either.
It's a little kid show that parents could kind of like too.
Yeah.
Let me see if there's a way that I can
I'll
boost your
find
volume.
something to send you.
Edit mic settings. Yeah.
Let's see.
Automatically
They're
adjust
showing
mic settings.
Pennsylvania with somebody's head is blocking the percentage. Thank you. Self-awareness. They showed Lucas Kuntz ahead of Josh Hawley, but that was with a really small
I fucking
number
hate
in.
Josh Hawley.
27% in Pennsylvania, and it's very strongly Harris, but I'm not sure what areas those are.
Probably Philadelphia.
Philadelphia and
It's
Pittsburgh are
Pittsburgh.
reporting first.
It's Pittsburgh.
So,
Yeah.
Those
all
are
right.
gonna be
So
very strong
I've adjusted the volume for Aaron and Vicky. I mean, V and Elo. Whoops.
That's okay.
So
Grace.
I think
if you
they're onto
guys,
us.
can you just do like a quick mic check, just and then
Check,
somebody who's
mic check. Hello, hello.
how are they sounding now? I
start
think we're on like
rapping
a
now?
5-minute delay too. So
Oh, they're calling
We all
Delaware
hate
for
Josh
Harris.
Hawley. I know, it's like next to Ted Cruz. I mean, everybody hates Ted Cruz too. You know who hates
meanwhile,
Ted
I'm
Cruz?
going.
Cornyn hates Ted
You know
Cruz.
who
He
hates
has
Ted
the-
Cruz? Donald Trump.
Everybody
Probably
hates
Ted
Ted
Cruz's
Cruz.
wife.
Ted Cruz's
wife hates Ted
Man.
Cruz.
The other thing about
Why
Ted
couldn't you
Cruz is
stand up
notice
for me?
he threw his kid under the bus when he
No,
went to
absolutely.
Cancun. His kids probably hate him too.
I mean, Trump just like absolutely dog walked Cruz and humiliated his wife, and Cruz was just like, "Yes, sir. Please let me lick your feet." Most fucking pathetic
Look,
thing I've ever seen.
I'm
Really
gonna
was.
be straight up with you. There is. It doesn't matter what I am doing. Like if I'm going for a job, and the guy who is interviewing me insults my wife, I will fucking beat that motherfucker into the ground. I will catch charges and lose my chance for a job just to defend my wife's honor, because I'm the one that has to get in bed with her at the end of the night, and I love to fuck. So
Did you preface
that you
all
or
that
is
with,
that
"I'm
Ram?
just being honest"?
That wasn't on my end. That was somebody else.
What'd that do?
He prefaced that with "I'll be honest," so we know it's true.
You know it's true. He says, "I'll be honest." I'll be honest with you.
Gotcha.
That's a. You know what? In all, that's a stupid phrase. I don't know where it comes from, but it's like one of those weird like ways
It's like
to
you're
introduce
like
stuff.
this behind your back or something.
Yeah, it's like, well, if you have to
Are
qualify,
you not honest
and
all
be
the rest
honest,
of the
have you
time?
not been honest? Exactly. Yeah.
So, Tim, there's a question for you in the chat there of when did you go to DI school?
What? Oh, never.
DI school?
I don't even know what that means.
First of all, I'm not a Marine. DIs are for the Marines. And second of all, I was not ever a drill sergeant. I was a
I'm
platoon
too
sergeant
low.
and an
Okay,
acting first
that
sergeant.
fixed.
But those are completely different things. I think first sergeants have it worse than drill sergeants. Drill sergeants, you just fucking yell at people and they're going to do what you tell them. First sergeants
Oh,
will
DI,
be like,
that's right.
I don't give a fuck what the first sergeant says, and the first sergeant's going to go fucking catch charges and
Oh my goodness.
risk
look
an
at
Article
that.
15.
Pretty.
50. That's pretty good. 52. We don't want to lose them. They're not marking the incumbents. It's kind of annoying. Look at this guy got indicted and convicted for stuff, and he's got 62%. That's how New Jersey feels.
They're saying Trump won Florida. Is that what I'm hearing?
Yeah, they're projecting Florida for Trump.
All right, they haven't got there yet where I am. Oh my goodness. Jeez.
I've also got several friends doing election updates in my chats, so you know.
Well, hopefully Jen will get up and she'll be able to hang out with us for a little bit, but we'll see.
Look, I'm powering through it to be here.
Yeah.
Hope Jen can join us.
I was really hoping Trump would lose in Florida.
They're
Sure.
always going to win Florida by like 8 points or so. That was
Because Florida.
Well,
Yeah,
old
you think-
people.
A lot
Yeah,
of crazy.
a
Yeah,
lot
it's
of
a lot
really
of
old people.
old and crazy people.
got some old relatives down there with some not so great opinions, so it doesn't surprise me.
Okay.
Donated
to
I mean, these are
Olive, good
people
for
who
you.
eat Werther's Originals, so
That is true.
And you know what? Those aren't even bad candies. They're like, if you like caramel,
They're not good.
Scott.
They're not good.
Oh boy.
We'll find out.
Apparently, a judge has rejected an effort to extend voting hours near Pennsylvania University, where lines have been hours long.
Well, they're supposed to
Sorry,
let you vote if
you
you're
don't
in
get your
line.
constitutional right to vote because it's after hours.
They're supposed to let you vote if you're in line when the polls close.
At 7 p.m.
The GOP doesn't feel that way, especially not in the center of University City, downtown Philadelphia, which is that's Drexel, that's University of Pennsylvania.
Right.
It's what the hell? I forget. There's another college right there too.
Drexel. Oh, I got it. Almost tip of my tongue.
It's not Temple. Temple's on the other side of the city.
If Trump wins, Vicky's going to be looking for a new job. So feel to.
I think I will be too. I mean, RFK said that within 6 months he hopes to outlaw all vaccines. So that's going to have a massively detrimental effect on the healthcare industry.
Yeah,
and that dude should go fuck a dead bear in Central Park. Fucking idiot.
They can deny votes because the votes would not go in their favor, so they're going to say no.
So many
being a
fucking
judge,
lawsuits.
you can just make a decision.
So many lawsuits. Oh my god.
Yeah, anything in Philadelphia is going to be overwhelmingly.
I'm going to go make another drink, so I'll be back in a minute.
Okie dokie. What is this? I'm really interested in seeing some of these ballot initiatives, the abortion ones, for example. They were showing some of the ones in Florida, for example, but they haven't been showing them for all the states so far.
They haven't.
I'd like to see. South Dakota has competing ones, which is hilarious. Shouldn't be too surprised.
Yeah, that's true. Can't travel overseas if you don't have vaccines.
Oh my god.
It's so stupid. They want to put Trump wants him in charge of the FDA.
I know all
medicine.
of the agencies that are basically public health agencies, CDC.
Yep, and that is why Vicky will be looking for a job.
FDA, CDC. Oh my god.
I might apply for asylum somewhere because Jesus Christ.
I know. They don't want us. They don't.
So to bring everybody up to speed on what we're talking about there, Trump said that RFK Jr. will be in charge of the FDA, food, medicine, etc. At a rally, RFK got up on stage and said that within the first 6 months of the Trump administration, they were going to ban all vaccines and, quote, get rid of all the poisons.
Right.
Also, for some reason, breakfast cereals? Because what the fuck? So, yeah, no vaccines, no vaccine laws, and no breakfast cereals. You want your
Let's be
Frosted Flakes?
clear. I have a kid on
right
the
now.
autism spectrum, and I believe in vaccines.
I just got 2 more vaccines on Monday, so I'd be in compliance working in the hospital.
Hence, you're feeling like dog shit today.
Yeah, still waiting for the autism to kick in. I'm not sure when it's going to start.
Right.
But, any minute now, I'm told by
That
the
might be how
conspiracy
it
nuts.
works. I don't know.
I guess. Between doing work in a hospital and traveling to Africa, I've had a lot of shots this year.
42% in Georgia, and she's doing okay.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, not Georgia, Virginia.
There is no way a Harris lead in Lackawanna County holds up.
Oh boy. I'm so curious about the swing states, though. I mean, there's
you
a lot
got to see the swing districts inside the swing states.
Right.
Erie, Pennsylvania, has gone the way of the rest of the state in every single election going back for, I'm not even sure how many decades.
Uh-huh.
Erie, Bucks, and God, can't even think of the other one. Can't think of the third one.
Not in the West, or no?
2 things at once. Yes, exactly right. No, there's another one in the East.
Oh, in the East. Okay.
Goes with the state. Bucks is one
I
of
can't think of any right now.
I also have a couple friends two different friends who work on two different campaigns for Democratic candidates in PA. One is for a congresswoman, one is for a state senator. They are very, very nervous. One of them is incredibly pessimistic.
Sherrod Brown still ahead with 43 in. Bob Casey only 11% in.
Yeah.
Dominant, but only. Colin Allred, behind, but 53% in.
So in PA's Senate races, for whatever reason, the GOP keeps bringing people from out of state to run for the Senate. People have like a
Right.
vacation home in PA.
I heard that.
The most recent one, the one before was Fetterman versus Dr. Oz. Dr. Oz
Right.
from PA. He's
Famous
got like
one.
Dr. Oz, this charcuterie shouldn't cost $60. It should only cost $35. Fucking pud.
He's got
That
like a
was
bag of
lovely.
salad, an entire cucumber, and a thing of carrots. Like, I'm making charcuterie out of this, just like Pennsylvanians do. It's like, the fuck?
You don't have enough meat.
Charcuterie has a certain, how you say, je ne sais quoi.
But I do know people who split their ticket between Casey and Trump here. As weird as that sounds, they just couldn't stand Dave McCormick. Also, that he is sold us out to the Chinese. He made most of his money revamping China's military. So that was not popular even in
What's he doing? Where's your toy? Oh, what are you doing?
I'm destroying a 25-year-old marketing textbook, just so we're aware.
Sounds good.
I
encourage that.
Out of date. Anyway, like a lot of people get real mad when you rip up books, but really,
I'm a librarian, and I can tell you, sometimes that needs to happen. It's bad information, and it needs to go.
So anyone keeping track at home, MSNBC has Trump up 105 to 30 right now in the electoral count, but it's a lot of red states in the South that have reported in.
In the early, they're in Eastern time zone.
Fucking Confederacy.
One of the really encouraging things I did see, as well as all the bad news, was that the ratio of men to women was a 7-point favorite for women across Wisconsin and Michigan.
Yep.
Now, if that holds through the same day voting, that's it. Those two states are blue. They're absolutely blue.
In the early voting estimates, women outvoted men across every state. Women voted more in early voting.
And in Michigan exit polling, it was more women than men.
Yep, women were voting early, and women should be voting today too, I would expect. But we'll see.
In South Carolina, I looked at the voter statistics because I'm a weirdo and a nerd. The 1.5 million people voted early. We have 3.2 million voters, right? Should have more than that, quite frankly. There's just a lot of people who aren't registered. But with 3.2 million voters in presidential elections, about 70% of people vote, and that means that half the electorate who was inclined to vote voted before election day. So, because 1.5 million people voted, let's assume we are still at the 70%. That means something like 2.5 million voters voted today.
Bomb sniffing dogs are present in a voter services building in Pennsylvania.
Yeah, Westchester.
Oh dear.
It's bullshit, but they got to check it out.
Yeah, I got to make a due diligence on that.
I mean, there was some credence with the Russian effort to blow up those airliners that the Russians are willing to put real bombs. I very much doubt they've had the infrastructure in time to put bombs in.
You know, the last group of people that blew up American Airlines. We invaded their country and fucking destroyed them. So I'm just saying, fuck around and find out, Russia, you motherfuckers.
It's like it looks like they want to go. I mean, you put multiple bombs on multiple airliners.
I don't get that though. Like, it's like, dude, 70% of your army is in Ukraine, and you've lost a lot. You're losing badly. You're losing so badly that you had to call isolationist North Korea and be like, excuse me, we know that we typically keep you inside your own border, but can you cross your border and send your army into ours so we can send you to Ukraine?
So
we'll give you food.
There was a story out today. Apparently, the North Korean troops have never experienced internet and internet porn before.
Oh, dear.
And it's become quite a problem at their deployed base. And the Russians were on radio complaining about this is all they do.
Oh, no.
All they do. So the Ukrainians are dropping porn bags with the phone number and instructions on how to surrender in Korean.
Drop the lead.
Oh, that's hilarious. Oh my god. I love it.
This is the brilliant solution they have.
Operation Porn Drop.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're going to phone in bomb threats to voting booths, then I feel like Ukraine should be perfectly within their rights to be like, hey, you want some porn mags? You poor bastards. How about some food?
We're like thinking they're dropping these killing machines into Ukraine, but actually they have a weakness. And it's porn.
It's porn.
Why am I not surprised? These armed
left
men
their
they
entire
dropped,
army
correct?
unable to function. An army that basically has never been allowed to see porn before.
Your entire army was crippled by the fact that none of them have ever seen a naked woman before, and suddenly they have porn mags and internet
We
porn,
have
and
seen
it's like,
the enemy, and the enemy.
we don't want to fight, we want to fuck.
Let's be honest.
This is what unraveled the entire Russian plan.
How did they not see this coming?
I mean, if they've never seen porn before, then maybe they haven't seen anybody coming.
So I'm gonna ask the chat for this, and I'm going to. When was the first time women voted in the United States?
I know the answer to this.
We're asking the chat, right?
I'm asking the chat, so see if they respond. If not,
well, there's also a delay. I feel like it's like I think it's a 5-minute delay, but I'm not 100% sure.
Gotcha. So, well,
you can pull up the YouTube and see where we're at.
Matt or Tim, when do you think the first time women voted was in the U.S.?
I think it's 1920.
I just did a video on this, so I'm not going to answer.
Yeah, of course you're not. But it is not true. It is not. I see some people answering. Women in New Jersey had the right to vote up until 1804. So
Really?
women voted in early elections in the United States. So women with property. Let's be honest.
And what state gave women the right to vote, and who had the first female governor?
This feels like a trick question that admin Elo is very proud of.
You know it. When
Who was the first woman candidate for president?
Oh, that's Victoria Woodhull,
Ooh.
1872.
She was a witch.
The first woman governor was in Wyoming.
Yes, and that was the first state to give women the right to vote too, which is why
that's because we needed to try
you
to
can't vote, but you can run for office.
We had the first female judge too, I think. But we the first woman governor was Nellie Taylor Ross, who I got to portray when I was like in 3rd grade or something for the pageant. Nellie Taylor Ross, 1924.
That's delightful. Yeah. So that they took away the right to vote, and that's something that we should be very aware of. women are not guaranteed constitutional protection for voting rights. We are only allowed to vote, like they could declare that the 19th Amendment was unconstitutional for some reason and take away our voting rights.
Yeah, and it's same with black folks too.
Yeah,
'Cause
we
it's not
also
in the
don't have equal
Constitution.
protection under the law.
You know,
Right, that is a
here-
thing. That's why we still didn't pass the NRA.
The ERA, yeah, the Equal Rights
Sorry,
Amendment.
ERA.
Do you know
Yeah.
what year women got the right to have their own credit card without a husband or male guardian signing
I've heard
for
it's
it?
1974.
Yeah.
What do you think? Edmund V?
1976.
Elo's right. It's 1974 with the Equal Credit Opportunity Act.
Because I am old, and that is my milestone birthday. So,
yeah.
See,
I
think
remember
about it.
things like that.
Women could not legally have their own credit card and a huge piece of financial independence until 1974. This is not ancient history. This is very much
they
recent.
had to have a cosigner.
Yeah.
Basically, that's what that
Your
means. So
husband
if you
or
wanted to
male
get
guardian had to
divorced,
co-sign for it.
you would end up leaving your kids, or especially earlier on, before there was child support and
alimony.
Any alimony, right? So you would be leaving your kids for sure, because there was no giving the kids to the mom and then making the dad pay support. That wasn't a thing.
No. And people act like we live in a modern century. We don't, that's within, like, 1974 is only 4 years. It's within my mother's lifetime, let's be honest. I am 46 years old. I was born in 78. So the idea that we are living in a society where 4 years before I was born, women could not have their own.
Well, it definitely means that you didn't just stay in a marriage because you believed in the sanctity and you believed in lifetime vows, and it doesn't mean that at all.
And there are so many men, like women who talk to their grandmothers, know their grandfathers were dicks, right? Yeah, like they know grandpa was dicks, whereas like a lot of younger men and men my age think, oh, grandma loved grandpa so much. No, grandma didn't.
And you look at grandpa and think, gee, I don't see it.
And like all of us have stories of our grandparents telling us, don't marry. Somebody, have your own money, don't marry.
Yeah, I know. My grandma gave me advice that I kind of ignored too. So I see what she was doing now.
Yeah.
So when you're young, you don't know. You're idealistic, and you think that choosing the person you're going to spend the rest of your life with is possible when you're 18 years old. You don't realize, like, you don't know anything. You're a child.
With the Republicans talking about getting rid of no-fault divorce as well,
I know
there's catapult
there's
women
that
right back
clique
to
of morons.
If they try that, there's going to be a lot more dead men. Earl has to die, as they say.
I think we're mad now. Come
on,
man.
Earl fucked up, so that's how it is.
Like when you look, no fault divorce consigns when male heart attack rates got better, and it's not necessarily that they were killing them, but they could have probably taken them to the hospital, and they just decided not to stand there and watch them die.
Good point. Come here. Are you going to come up here?
Wisconsin polls will be closing in about 2 minutes.
Well,
Wisconsin and Michigan have said they're going to have their results tonight. Here in PA, we're like, no, you're going to have your results by like the weekend, man.
They made efforts in Michigan to do that for sure. I mean, right now he's up 105 to 27 or whatever. And you can see why in 2020 they got excited and thought, oh, we have this in the bag. But The thing is that you don't have like these critical states in yet. So
They also don't know how a lot of this works. So
Right,
they see number
exactly.
on screen and they assume it's over. 'cause
Winston?
They assume it's like college football. One team's up by 100 and something points, and the other team is still fumbling the ball.
Say hi to V. Hi.
Hi, Kitty. Hi,
Everybody
Kitty.
else had their pets on here, and I don't know where the hell mine went.
He's bonking me in the head. Hi, buddy. I'm sorry about my light.
See, I'm not the only one with a cat that gets in their
Yeah.
videos.
He's a lap cat, so he comes up behind me and tries to get in my lap. I don't have much of a lap right now. And the dog is licking my feet, so this is my cross to bear. They all come and get on me.
Just before we went live, Ram was up here. Ram was like jumping on me, and then we were going to go live in like 30 seconds, and he was just like, whoop, vanished, gone.
He's like, I don't want to be on camera, Dad.
He doesn't.
He doesn't like the camera.
He objects enough as it is to all the times he appears on social media.
Like, I'm very sorry, but I am not a camera dog.
Look, Winston. Buddy. Winston.
But let's see. What's some more fun facts that I can fill the space with?
I put some stuff in that document, just the rift a little bit.
Yeah, that's what I said.
I don't remember if there's what else I put in there.
You have women's suffrage, and I had the Hamburg Ellington redemption shit.
Oh yeah, the suffrage stuff about how there was a conflict because of African American women, of course, wanted to vote too, but they still hadn't really solved African American men yet. So there was a prioritizing that had to happen.
Yeah,
and when they had these women's marches for suffrage, they would leave out the black ladies. And
of course they would.
Really right. It's really like, okay, there's only room for us here, not you two. And it's very, it's just kind of, it's the antithesis of the way we think, I think, where you're trying to make the tent bigger and include everybody. And they weren't like that.
What's
they
the
were
projection?
competing interests. Yeah. So it's kind of sad and black women ended up getting short-shrifted.
In Michigan? And Wisconsin. Both the two are
Did either of those go for Trump in 2020?
No. 2020 Biden took all three of the classic blue wall: Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, and Michigan. They are projecting Trump to win Texas.
Well, that's a shocker.
Well, that's disappointing.
And North Dakota.
Shocking. North Dakota?
North Dakota, and now South Dakota.
They might as well
And now-
Wyoming.
Edmund Tim, is that you or is that Elo?
It's what me.
The background sound.
Might have been me. I am.
Oh, that was me.
No. Oh, okay. I didn't want to ask who had the porn on, but
It's not porn. It's Netflix.
I mean, could be.
My pizza's here, so give me a second. I forgot to turn the light on. I feel bad for the poor pizza guy.
I'm sure he'll live.
Yeah.
So
I'm so sorry.
Louisiana's too early to call. I want to see the numbers though. How badly did we lose in Texas exactly?
Oh, they showed it too quick.
Progress?
And
Are we closing that gap or?
South Dakota, yeah. Here's Wyoming, wonky.
Trump's at 154. Harris still at 30.
New York.
They projected South Carolina.
These are the ones that have closed. I think.
I really think we might take North Carolina.
Georgia, they've had bomb threats in DeKalb County and Fulton.
What are you doing this so quickly for? What's wrong with you?
Did she not read her mic when she walked away?
You too.
North Carolina, Harris trails by like 100,000 votes. A little bit more in Georgia.
We don't want to hear the bathroom,
The Turbolax scene from fucking Dumb and Dumber.
All right. I'm tired of ABC there. annoying. Let's see. Well, that's Fox.
Ted Cruz is up on Allred, but it is really close. It is like 250,000 votes between the two of them with over.
It's really going to depend on what counties for sure, because you know how Texas is. All the blue are the cities, so it really does depend on which counties. All right, I got it back on CBS. Let's see what they say.
If Allred can flip that seat, that is huge, especially with West Virginia going out the window.
That'd be legend, wouldn't it? The closest we've come before was obviously Beto.
Yeah. Everything else is pretty much as expected so far. Nothing else important getting called just yet.
66. She's down in Georgia with 66% in, but I think that we don't have anything. There's a lot of area around Atlanta that's not in yet.
Yeah, a lot of votes around Atlanta are not
and Columbus.
Yet, and that's going to be blue.
For what it's worth. Columbus, Macon, Atlanta. There's another blue county down there. I don't know what that is.
Dems can only cede 8 more Senate seats without losing the majority.
You know,
the polls closed in Colorado and some of these Midwestern states. This might get interesting soon.
They're projecting
Nebraska's
no.
initiative for a right to abortion is up 63% so far. That's good.
Florida's Amendment 4 right to abortion is up 57 to 43%, but they're projecting that no is going to win that one.
They also have
million
an
more
abortion after first trimester that's in Nebraska. There's 2 different abortion ones in Nebraska as well.
For those of you who remember the post we had up on the page, that 97% of abortions happen in the first trimester, and the other 3%.
Yes, of course.
Are overwhelmingly. I'm sorry, 93%, 7%.
Mostly elective, and the people who are dying are not elective ones.
Yeah, and that last 7% are all medical. Yeah. But they'd have you believe it's women being flighty and changing their mind.
Right, deciding
8 months until you carry the baby. Just, I don't want to do that anymore.
That's not a thing.
No. But they need to create the idea that it's a thing so they can introduce laws about it.
I know. I was dealing with somebody in somebody's comments that was talking about how they should sue doctors who didn't do that. I'm like, you're talking about 2 different things. One is criminal and one is civil. They probably will get sued in civil lawsuits when an 18-year-old girl dies, at the 15th week.
I don't understand.
Pizza?
Why people are so upset over abortion rights. It has been a thing since the beginning of fucking time. Women who have been having babies, they've been figuring out ways not to have them.
And men stayed out of it.
Yep. And
because it's about control. And if you're stuck at home with 9 kids, you're going to be a lot less involved in having a say in the world around you.
In the world we live in today, how many kids does it take for a woman to become disengaged with the rest of the world? More
a few I can think of with just 2 that have gotten to that point.
Well, I know.
Some with 1. Depends on the kid.
I have 2, and I can tell you, yes, sometimes that is true. Until they were, 5 or under 5, and they went to school, yes, they do dominate your ability to accomplish anything else.
So the next point would be for them to get rid of public schools.
There we are. Mm-hmm. What do you think? Is this
and what does Trump want to abolish? Department of Education.
Oh, it's hilarious. I showed the president in New York. She's up by 70. She's up 72% to 27, with 15% in.
Is there honestly any doubt that she's going to win New York?
I know. I like it. Let's stick with that.
It's like saying Harris is going to win Alabama.
It's not
Clearfield County, Pennsylvania. The voting has been extended following a bomb threat in Clearfield County Administrative Building.
Jesus Christ.
You turd.
Now, the Vita says, my grandma made herself miscarry, and she said it like she was talking about baking a pie, and Grandpa didn't bat an eye when she said it.
Yeah, NBC is confirming the Florida abortion amendment has failed, despite being up 1.4 million votes.
Oh dear.
I guess they're expecting all red votes for the rest of the way in.
Must be what they're waiting for. Yeah.
I wouldn't guarantee that to be the case because there's people in red counties who would vote for the amendment.
Oh, it might be because they had to have a certain number of votes over a certain threshold. For
gotcha.
That's what
Right.
I'm reading now. My apologies. That's what that is. Even though it definitely had the majority of votes, but I believe it needed 60%, and it's not going to get there.
I think Michigan women might have come through on this based on exit polls.
Yeah.
They said
Darwin Award.
68% said abortion should be legal on exit polls in Michigan.
Yeah.
68%.
Darwin Award Earth in the comments is saying when Ronald Reagan was elected president, most evangelical churches took no position on abortion, and the abortion button was built up and pushed into the evangelical faith to use it as a political tool. It was a replacement, and this is where Vicky is adding to this conversation because this is something I've read a ton about. Just so you know, it was in 1984 they couldn't utter racial slurs and stuff anymore. So they needed a uniting position, and abortion became that position. The Baptist Church in 1972, Southern Baptist Church, let's be more specific, was abortion is between a woman and her doctor. And we take no position on it. In the late 80s and the early 90s, all of a sudden it was something I would hear about in church about how abortion was murdering babies and that kind of nonsense. It is absolutely documented that they use it as a tool to manipulate evangelicals because they could no longer use racism openly to manipulate.
Until Trump.
Until Trump, exactly.
Then they could definitely use racism openly.
Osborne is up in Nebraska. That's a nice thing. He is running, to clarify, he's running as an independent, but he is more progressive than most Nebraskans. And so probably if he did win, he would be he said he wouldn't caucus with Democrats, but he's got to be voting with Democrats more than Republicans. Yeah. That's clear.
I think North Carolina might be gone. Harris is underperforming Biden's numbers in a number of these counties.
In North Carolina?
North Carolina.
Okay.
I mean, only 80-something% in, but.
Bless you.
Does look like she's going to close the gap. It's going to be really close, but looks like she's going to lose it.
Why are they showing Arizona? Arizona's not closed yet, is it?
No, Arizona should be closed yet.
Colorado is still up on right to abortion. No, I don't know why they're saying that. This is 0% in. Nebraska, vote right to abortion, yes, 63%, with 25% in. Nebraska is basically completely rural, except for Omaha and Lincoln. So county-wise, that's how that shakes out. Right to abortion, no, in South Dakota, only 1% in.
You know, gang, I am feeling pretty depressed now, so I'm going to go ahead and say that out loud because I am worried sick.
I'm not very happy right now.
Taking North Carolina would have been a
Georgia. I'm not too happy with so far either.
Georgia, she's at least she's behind, but she's a lot closer to Georgia than she is to North Carolina.
I know. I felt like North Carolina was at least somewhat optional, I guess. It's I don't like it, but maybe that's okay if the other swing states come through.
I really thought we saw Stein take the governorship, that we might get some up and down the ballot blue there, but it looks like we might have had a lot more split votes. Trump and Stein voters.
I think it would be hard in the current state of things to convince anybody other than party true people, partisans on either side, to vote a straight ticket. Iowa isn't coming. They don't have anything on Iowa coming up yet. What they have in for Kansas at 39% has Harris up, which is incredible. That maybe it'll be closer than anyone thought in Kansas, but close doesn't count for anything. Close doesn't mean squat. She's up in Michigan with
Wyoming has been
10%
called
in.
for Trump.
When I look up party affiliation, it leans left got 25% in Wyoming. So I win the idiots that I used to go to high school with contest. She's up 27%, and with 27% in Nebraska, she's up, which is fascinating.
Well, they might be mostly the
it might be Omaha,
urban counties.
Omaha and Lincoln, Lancaster County, Douglas County. Let's see, President, New York. Yeah, that's no problem. North Dakota is just as bad as Wyoming. Got it. South Dakota is terrible as well. Well, if we're all feeling unhappy, I'm sorry. Maybe we need more booze.
This is expected. Like this is perfectly expected. We know things could go bad. Let's see. Let's talk. Let's fact share, because that calms me down.
It's true. Let's see. Thanks, Melanie. We have a revolution either way. It's just easier to course correct with Democrats at the helm. Yeah. We're getting spectrum outage alerts in Northeast Ohio. Well, that's not good. Nebraska numbers are showing that incumbent Republicans are getting beat by Democrats. Well, that's nice. That is nice. I grew up about 10 miles from Nebraska, so I like to hear that. As a Democrat growing up in Wyoming, I was ostracized and asked, "What the hell's wrong with you?"
The difference in Georgia is still about 240,000 votes in Trump's favor.
Did Vicky just peace out, or did she?
Lose V? Maybe she needed to sign off for a minute. If we need a place to hide, I kind of do. I mean, I would prefer outside the country, though.
Make sure those passports and whatnot are all up to date, folks.
Sorry, guys, I closed the yard. My apologies.
I've done it by accident before too, and then I was like, stupid giant fingers.
Yeah. So the I was gonna ask the who had the right to vote in early America. The answer might surprise you.
Well, we all think it's white male landholders.
Absolutely, and the universal, there was no universal voting laws across the United States until they put in, I think, the 26th Amendment, which said
right. So basically, colonies
state could
and
make their
states, right, would make their own rules.
Which allowed for things like grandfathering in. When you hear that term, what that was referenced to was that they would have voter tests in other states.
Right. So they had to standard. That's part of what they had to standardize.
Yeah, and they would say if your grandfather voted, you can vote.
Interesting. That's where that
And
comes
without
from.
taking the test, voting test.
Right.
It wasn't universal, but it was mostly white landholding men. And yeah, there you go.
I think it used to be just assumed that the man was the head of the household and whatever he said was agreed to in the household. So women didn't need to vote because it was implicit, that they agreed with their husband, and that's the way that went. So things had to
GOP
change
still thinks it works
once.
that way.
Right. Women were acknowledged to have brains of their own at some
Yeah.
point. At least some people thought that. But it was by no means 100% of people thought that, because a third of people agreed that men and women were a voting team, and and then a third thought women should have their own voice, and then a third didn't really care. This is what the research showed when I was doing research on the women's fight for suffrage, not being given it. They weren't given anything. They had to fight. That's what happened. That's the way the movement went, was a third, a third, a third.
And
Against and didn't care.
It's important to remember that that rights are earned, they're not given.
Right.
Unless you're a white evangelical Christian man, you are a minority group in the United States. And I have read a ton of books about this because I want to desperately understand how we got here, right? Like that's my goal in life, is to understand that. And it is, people are not what you think they are. Yeah, Tia. I also can't believe how many people still vote for Trump, but here we are, all working to survive down here.
I know. People are always more complicated. I watch, I think I mentioned before, I watch Finding Your Roots a lot, where the celebrities come on and they find out all about their ancestors, and people are it's always surprising because people want to put themselves and their ancestors into boxes to try to better understand. And people are always more complicated than that when you actually look at things. And unfortunately, I guess that's the way it feels like kind of right now. I don't know what's going to happen for sure, but just thinking about how can people vote for Trump, people are complicated, and people are voting for their own viewpoint, and it's hard to understand because it is different than mine and yours.
Like I
and
said,
just like, what the hell?
My family has been in the same part of South Carolina for 300 to 400 years at this point, right? We are long time, pre-1700s, essentially, in my part of the country. And that means generally just the South, mostly the same part of South Carolina. And I'm able to know who a lot of my ancestors were because we didn't move around, and
can find them.
You can find them. I am descended from slave owners, right? I'm also descended from people who didn't own slaves, because I'm descended from poor white trash and from less poor white trash, right? And even the people who are descended from slave owners can have nuance, because I had a great-grandfather who, when the Methodists were voting to expel like black congregations in the 1920s and 30s, he voted against it. Was he racist? Yes.
Rhode Island called for Harris.
Huh? What'd you say?
Rhode Island's called for Harris. Mississippi called for Trump.
Okay.
And Louisiana for Trump.
That's
as expected. Apologies. Please continue.
Yeah. So
Right.
nuance is a thing.
Yeah.
Even among racists.
For sure. You know, that's the thing is, oh, your people were in South Carolina. They thought this is what they did, all that kind of thing, and generalizing. So, you know, mine are mostly New Englanders, and none. I can't find any ancestor of mine that had slaves, and I just can't. And I know that because I've researched them. You know, and not everybody can do that.
When I listen to things in New England, and people always act like they're innocent, but in states like New York and Boston, there were people who were ensuring the lives of slaves.
Sure.
And
yep. It definitely existed, and it was a thing. And you want to think, okay, well, my people are from New England, therefore they definitely didn't, and that's not.
Yeah.
That's not a.
So it's racism was like you could be an abolitionist, but you work for Northwestern Life.
Right.
I mean, Northwestern Life, and they.
My people were not progressive just because they lived in the North or something. Some of them were more likely to be than others. But they were, I mean, it wasn't like they had some kind of moral objection to having slaves. They were just too poor. I mean, that kind of thing.
But my opinion is always going to be that we should note that humans are complicated people.
Right. That's what's things are always more complicated than you think, because our lives today are very complicated with lots of stuff, lots of technology, lots of things, but that doesn't mean that people who lived before us didn't also have complicated existences and competing interests that were at play.
When you think about Germany in 1930 something, like in the 1930s and 1920s, Germany's economy completely collapsed. So when a loudmouth dictator gave them someone to blame,
right, they took that opportunity and
Were all of them virulent anti-Semites? No, they weren't.
No.
But they accepted the anti-Semitism in society because their life was fine. And in 1932, Germany, which was, I think, the last free election there before when the Nazis took over.
Quick update.
It was.
The bomb threats have spread. They're in Michigan, Wisconsin, Arizona, Pennsylvania, and Georgia. Basically all in blue districts.
Great.
We knew this. And this is why we were telling
Please continue
people.
telling us about a fascist push. I'm sure it'll have nothing
All right,
to pair with what's going on.
No. It's totally understandable because this is related. So in 1932 Germany, it was and I'm going to talk with my glue stick in my hand, so just forgive me. It's better than
I thought you said boomstick.
Screen, which I have down here. So the 1930 something Germans were very much afraid of communism because communism. And so they united a bunch of right-wing parties, and Hitler wasn't supposed to be in charge. Hindenburg, who was a World War II hero, was supposed to be in charge.
Right.
But Hindenburg died, and all of a sudden now you have fascism in Germany. So it's just important to note that it can happen. Germany was one of the most progressive places to live in the 1920s. Like were doing research on trans people's health care in Germany in the 1930s. So we're in a fragile state. It's not that hard for us to
vulnerable. Play on your fears.
Yeah, so it's just important for everybody to know where we're at, you know.
Yeah, there's similarities. When we watched Rise of the Nazis, a PBS series, it was, I mean, they of course were wanting to make it a parallel, time, like a situation, and it definitely played into that. It's not hard to make those parallels. And talking about how Hitler did do that and was working on it when Hindenburg was still alive.
Yep. And when there was the Reichstag fire, where they were able to when you're a minority, everything's your fault, right? Like there
Yeah,
is
you can have things blamed on you quite easily.
yeah. And so they blamed there even if you as a member of the minority think that the other person did something, the other person was wrong, it still gets blamed on you. So it's just really important for us to remember that there's a lot of nuance and stuff that is important. I think I grouped. I did with this, so we're gonna rip this pocket out.
All right, I will be right back, y'all.
Okay.
They're officially calling New York finally for Harris.
Again.
Unexpected. Amazing. So that brings Harris up to 62, Trump's at 168.
But with California, Oregon, and all those states in play, and
All the
likely to
states.
go for Harris.
I mean, well, yeah, California's going to go for Harris by several million votes. That's not in doubt. So is Oregon and Washington. PA still too early to call. Be nice if that went blue. Because if not, I don't think there's a path forward with North Carolina off the field.
Yeah. On the other hand, I'm very glad that North Carolina didn't elect Mark Robinson.
That's true.
I have a lot of friends who live in North Carolina.
You don't say.
Considering I'm in South Carolina.
I mean, there's like a few of them that are sometimes in the stream, so.
Oh, yeah, I know.
Do not like.
Let's see. Does anybody are y'all interested in any more facts from Vicky? Because I've got them. Let's see. Fun fact from Vicky from my book that was called White Trash by Nancy Eisenberg, which I really recommend y'all read. It's a 400-year history of classism in the United States. The word cracker as a term for a poor white person existed as far back as the 1700s. So there's a fun fact for y'all. It was a fascinating book, and I recommend everybody read it because, like some of the first people, like we all know about, like poor black women being sterilized due to eugenics. The first people to get sterilized were actually, for eugenics reasons, were actually poor white women because they didn't believe that poor white women were white. Because class and race were not distinct things. So there's a fun fact for you.
Just like the Trump administration sterilized migrants against their will.
Don't mind me, I'm just watching the results and trying to see if there's anything newsworthy with report.
Yeah, I'm watching the breakdown in Wisconsin.
How's that going?
It's way too early to draw conclusions. But she's underperformed in a couple of counties so far. But we won't know for sure until the whole votes are in. So it's difficult to make an extrapolation from 70% of the vote in a particular county.
Mm-hmm.
If trends hold with their 2020 counterparts, Georgia's going to be incredibly close.
Wow.
Georgia might come down to less than 10,000 votes.
Yeah.
We just need more data points.
I'm scarfing Halloween candy.
As is the way of our people.
That's where I'm at. All day yesterday and today. I have no attention span, so I placate
I
myself
too have
with
scarfed out
candy.
Halloween candy. I bought like $115 worth of Halloween candy from the fucking Dollar General. Yeah, I did really. From the fucking Dollar General. So Dollar General, for those of you that don't live in an area with Dollar Generals, it's like the fucking 5 and dimes. It's like bargain basement shit. So $115 worth of candy is like a massive amount of candy. And I live in a suburb, so I was expecting lots of trick-or-treaters. Oh, no. Sweet summer child, you dumb fuck. The small town in which I live has this phenomenon where everybody goes to the little downtown historic district to go trick-or-treating. They don't go out in the suburbs. So I had like definitely 3, maybe 4. I don't know. By that time, I was pretty lit. I had like 4 trick-or-treaters come to my door, and I was begging. I was like, take as much as you want.
Here,
Take big. I was like, get some big handfuls, and their parents were like, "You said big handfuls." Next year, I'm gonna hand out beers. That's what I'm gonna do. To the adults, not the kids. I'm gonna be like, here's some candy for the kids, and here's a beer for the adults. That's
It's your first year at that place, so you should have been more cautious.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I moved here in like mid-February, so I didn't fucking know. And there's not any kind of goddamn guidance in this town. They're just like, how the fuck didn't you know, bro? We got the internet. You could read about hurricane weather dominators and Halloween in our small town.
Maybe you should have joined
You do have the internet.
summer page.
I could have joined the Nextdoor thing, but the Nextdoor thing is like, hey y'all, here's my GoFundMe for my son's fundraiser.
I've seen a car at the corner outside this house. And
Why are there black people in our neighborhood?
I couldn't even tolerate the summary, like when you get a digest. I couldn't even tolerate the digest of Nextdoor.
Yeah. I had the town in which I previously lived in Georgia, I was in Nextdoor, and half of them were like, my son is cutting lawns to raise money for his football jersey.
Oh.
And the other half was like dudes trying to get dates with single moms. I was just like, what the fuck? So yeah, it's peace down it.
Always surprises me who shows up in my DMs, like, that are married. I'm like, dude, I am single. I am not stupid.
What?
You've never had... Okay. So,
Tim,
like,
surely you've had a lot of single men messaging your DMs.
Yeah.
I mean, on OnlyFans, maybe.
Yeah.
Which DMs?
Facebook. Really? Fortunately, it hasn't happened a lot lately, but it was people from back home mostly, and I'm like, my dudes. I wouldn't date you when we were in high school. Why would you think I would date you now?
You have not improved.
Also, you're married.
Also, you're married.
I've seen your pictures.
Yeah, like that never stops anybody.
Especially if they're married to a classmate. Like, how did you think I would not notice that?
I wanted to
So I went to high school with Vicky, and I can assure you that some fucking it's a small hick town. It's the town is so small that they had to hyphenate the name of the school with other towns to make sure that we had enough people to make up an entire graduating class.
Yeah. So I think I'm done with the cover. It has dragons on the washi tape at the top.
Is that a Journey album?
Well, it's a Journey.
Hold it closer to the camera, because I've got like shit for eyesight.
Is that from the marketing textbook? Which part's from the
Well,
marketing
the marketing textbook is the cover, but like I did the I do cut and collage here.
Right.
And so I had a witch cut and collage. I find that cutting things out is very peaceful for me. It's like crochet and knitting.
Coloring is that way too.
Coloring doesn't work for me because I want it to be perfect. And
well,
I don't have that ability. So this is the front, and I did a little witch here in the corner, and just a fun sticker down at the bottom. Like I said, dragons at the top. And then on the inside, I have a pocket made from my marketing textbook with a fun little cut and collage of rabbit, and then the Alice in Wonderland cover on the back. So I am going to show you the one I made for my friend Jada, if I can find it. I think it's buried under here, where I have all the other stuff on my couch that are
Is this a
paper.
book cover that you're making?
Huh? It's called a junk journal. So it's a it's basically a journal with like handmade book essentially. So like this is the pen holder I made for her. It's got like a fun little fairy, and then I put some pretty like scrapbook paper on the back with the "You're Beautiful," and then on the back
We have some projections.
Go ahead.
Illinois being projected for Harris.
Yeah.
The right to abortion measures in Maryland and New York will both pass.
But at that
Yes,
time, whatever Michael did,
and
of course, it's a no-brainer.
I've missed a projection.
Rhode Island, Illinois, and New York are reporting for Harris.
She's
Those
up
are the
for
last
Michigan,
three.
Pennsylvania, and what's the last one? Can you tell?
Yeah, she's ahead again in
Delaware.
Michael and I thought we had all the time in the world.
Delaware, Illinois, Rhode Island, and Illinois.
So that's,
And
I
New York.
think it's like 168 to 89 now on
Wisconsin. Okay. Wisconsin,
Wisconsin's too close to call.
Michigan, and what was the other one? Pennsylvania. It was showing her up.
Battleground
so far.
states, we need her to win.
Yeah.
Come on,
Pennsylvania
America.
would do
Don't
it,
fuck
like
this
it
up.
sounded like, right?
Yeah.
She can't, without North Carolina and Georgia, she can't win without PA, which was the path that was expected.
Yeah.
Where's Lily? Go see Lily.
So I'm going to continue with my junk journal.
Screaming on his True Social that Philadelphia is cheating, demands law enforcement to intervene. Sorry, Vicky, please continue.
No worries, no worries. I have a tree on the back with books, and it's got a quote from the Dr. Jekyll and Hyde. All human beings, as we meet them, are commingled out of good and evil, and Edward Hyde alone in the ranks of mankind was pure evil. So Jekyll and Hyde, or Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. And so then on the front cover, I have another pocket. And then there's lots of stickers, including fun pockets that I have put random places. And lots more stickers. I love these stickers. if you're into stickers, Sticky Club is amazing. But like this is another cut and collage whale thing where I've got like a pocket there. And then the back, which more things. And this is from my friend Jada. It is essentially her Christmas present. So, but
Your background is screwing up, Mikey.
Mikey, we can't see Mikey good, Big Sarge, because of the background.
Yeah, your background is messing up, Mikey. Where are you, Mikey?
He lost.
He's attacking the microphone cord at the moment.
Oh, of course. One of my cats loves to chew through charge cords.
Yeah, he's on a tear right now.
I had to get some of those like woven metal woven.
Yeah.
It's not good for the brother.
That's a good choice.
Sherrod Brown is down. Fuck. Shit. Cock. Right to abortion in Nebraska is up. Yes. Prohibit after first trimester, no, in Nebraska. 30% in. Hard to say. South Dakota's is mixed. I don't know what the hell's going on there, but it's only 6% in. South Dakota is basically all red except for, I don't know, even
Bismarck or something?
Less red in Rapid City and less red in Sioux Falls. It's not good. My relatives all live in, well, mostly they live in West River, which is Rapid City. And it's red as hell, so who knows? Vote for President Woman Harris. Yep. The exit polls look good in Michigan and Wisconsin so far, but I think those are going to be a couple states who are very careful about their results.
Yep.
Could you stop licking, please? Why don't you go lay down? Hey, why don't you go lay down? Where's Lily? Hey. Oh, dear Lord. Dog wants attention.
Steve Sane is asking, has Allred taken Texas? The answer is no.
He was down last I saw, but I'm not sure what counties have reported. So it's kind of like it's a percentage that's in, but I don't know which ones.
MSNBC is calling Ohio for Trump.
I guess that wasn't.
Yeah. Back when Ohio and Florida used to be swing states. In the before time.
I lived in Ohio, and I can tell you, I didn't realize how they were so crazy.
It's just disappointing, honestly.
But
to be fair, I've thought this about Ohio and Ohioans for a long time, not just.
That was before meth, and it was before all of the manufacturing leaving. It was before that when I lived there. So I think that has changed the landscape of Ohio quite a bit. They've had a lot of adversity, and they're trying to figure out who to blame it on and how to recover.
Well, it's much like, again, Germany in the 1930s, that you have to have somebody to blame, and that immigrants are easy targets.
Right. So things are still kind of not good.
One really discouraging thing that we are seeing here is that abortion referendums are outpacing Harris vote returns, meaning that people voted to protect abortion rights and then went and voted for Trump and his national abortion ban.
Which is nonsense, but
stupid.
We were talking about people being complicated, but I mean, that's kind of beyond the pale.
I don't know. It's complicated.
That don't make
just
no
say you
sense.
don't understand, bro. Just say you don't understand.
I mean, I need like a split screen or something. Why Let's go look at someone else. Go look at Univision. You get it. You got it now. No, they're showing it. This isn't going to work.
This had previously been too early to call. In Wisconsin, it is now too close to call. We can also.
The cassette tape in the bed.
Got a new round of polls closing in about 10 minutes, 10 and a half minutes.
Yeah.
Too close to call.
Everything in the battleground is still too close to call.
Yeah, and I think it's going to remain that way until at the very earliest tomorrow morning. I don't think we're going to see anything. I mean, at the very earliest, midnight's going to be when results start getting tabulated.
Yours is on a kid's profile, so it's not going to offer you CNN. When you were 5, did you want to watch CNN? You have to go in on mine. Pennsylvania, she's up 51 with 35% in. That's what it says. Too close, though. Michigan, she's up 52 to 46, 15% in. Too close. Would have to see the map to know anything about that. Wisconsin, she's up 27% in, but we don't know the map. If that's Madison or Milwaukee, don't know. North Carolina, he is up 52 with 64% in, so not looking that good, but we don't know what the lay of the land is with which precincts are reporting. They're I don't know. I don't see them going into a lot of detail with this either. They're just kind of showing one after another, and they're not doing. I mean, I have it on captions, but I don't see them talking a lot about the precincts. Georgia 51% for Trump, but you know, they don't show a map, so I can't tell. This is CNN now, so I don't know who's watching what, but I put CNN on. I got
Yeah,
annoyed.
Steve Kornacki is a good choice to watch for analysis.
Yeah, I felt like I was just having a bunch of talking, like just people regurgitating stuff and not analysis. So we'll see what we get now.
They're calling Kansas for Trump. Not surprising.
Not shocking.
So a 51-49 race there is a lot closer.
I think they're just calling Georgia for him. Projecting.
They're calling Georgia what?
Projecting Georgia for Trump. I thought that's what it just said.
Well, that would be extremely bad.
Nobody cares about those states. Montana, Nevada, and Utah are closing. Nevada's the only one that really makes much of an impact.
Last I saw Nevada, it was close, but leaning Harris. This through their exit poll.
I am going to go AFK and make another.
Unacceptable.
She's up in Iowa, but it's only 25%.
Reporting, yeah.
And I am going to have to drop off soon as I've got to get up in the morning to work.
You're going to die otherwise. You should go to bed. You don't feel well.
Sure. Snuggle with my puppy dog.
Hello, kitty. Hello,
Get up
kitty.
with bad life choices once
He's trying to find my lap.
And he's like, I don't know where your lap is.
Is this okay? He takes his time. I think he might have had a traumatic brain injury some point in his life. He's kind of slow. You see the little wheels turning in his little head sometimes. And he also has very much dilated pupils, like all the time. So that's my supposition, is that he's had a head injury.
Sometimes cats are just derpy.
It's true. I don't know. It's just me. He likes my lap and nobody else's lap. So he comes, and if I sit on the couch, usually for around 2 or 3 minutes, he's looking for the lap. I'm gonna be like, wait, I gotta go potty. Don't get on my lap yet. Oh, I haven't checked chat in a while. How's it going out in the sticks? Oh, I know. Admin Tim, he said he had, I don't know. I'm not sure what he's up to with his gimlets.
Admin Tim went to go get a refill.
His gin gimlets, I don't know. We don't want to know. Let's see.
I do not like some of these numbers in Pennsylvania.
I'm not. Oh, yeah. Are you getting detail in your numbers?
Yeah. Versus 2020 and 2016. She's outperforming Clinton, but she's underperforming Biden.
Mm-hmm. People born in Ohio.
And we find out the United States is sexist as fuck and racist.
Yeah,
well,
people will give a lot of lip service sometimes, and they don't have any intentions of doing the right thing. Admin Jen was also born in Ohio, I believe. Youngstown is where she is from, I believe. Talk about Ohio. Hi. Hey,
all right. I might also join Admin Matt in leaving the chat. Obviously, we're in different states, so.
Just leave Admin Elo and the cat to run things.
Yeah, I think so. I also have to work tomorrow.
I'm in Central Time, so I also don't have to be anywhere early in the morning. I'm going to Portland for a conference. Portland, Oregon, that is.
Yeah.
She is winning Colorado, which is not a shock, really.
She's closed the ground in Georgia some.
Okay, well that's why they're waiting to call it.
200,000.
They're waiting to call it, clearly.
$250,000 behind.
Depending on where.
If Fulton County comes in the way it did in 2020, that's 70,000 votes plus for Harris right there, and that cuts that lead down a lot.
Yeah, they're clearly waiting on it. It's still 20% left to report. They must still
2-drink minimum. I always pass my 2-drink minimum an hour before the show started.
I was telling him I wasn't sure what your gimlet count was up to.
Like 9, 10.
I have this. This is my thing I drink when I need a nice slow buzz, like kind of constant, just a sip and drink.
Yeah, but I probably got like 150 pounds on you, so.
I know. Yeah, I know. I can't have too many gins, though. No.
Yeah, I don't recommend that anybody try to
stay with you. I did that one time on New Year's Eve, 2020, like going into 2000, going into 2001. We were bar hopping in downtown Anchorage, and my brother-in-law realized I was keeping up with him drink for drink. but he had a lot of that wasn't a good thing. I did not feel well the next day.
I am a 3-drink limit girly.
Yeah, that's kind of where I'm at. Yeah.
I haven't always been, but at the age of 46, 3 drinks is my max. Usually I stay closer to 2, and this is my second tonight.
Yeah, me too. I'm with you. That was my lesson. I took my kid to Wurstfest, which is basically Oktoberfest nearby.
Mm-hmm.
And I bought him a beer, and I said, "You feel good, right? You have WAD 1, and you feel good. That is good."
Mm-hmm.
This is where you need to learn. You don't have to keep going. Just have one, and you're happy.
Yeah, I learned that lesson. Like I've never been like hungover, but I have gone to work drunk before.
I went to
that
school
was when I was
a little drunk
young
and
things.
school a little high before. I don't recommend it. My kid is sitting next to me. And the dog.
Yeah, so the yeah, people are like, I'm a 2-drink max person because I had alcohol poisoning 3 times before I turned 21. That's not good.
Oh dear. Yeah, that's yeah, that's the way to learn, I guess. You don't want to have to get to that point before you learn.
I was talking
but
about,
I'll throw up. I'll just throw up. So that's the way I learned. I won't get alcohol poisoning because I'll throw up.
I don't like how I
terrible.
feel when I drink too much. I don't like feeling out of control, and I can hear myself talk because I am chatty on a good day. And it gets worse when I drink.
You don't say.
Yeah. I'm an
too.
introvert. I don't like people in general, but like,
so you really
alcohol.
Why should you? Honestly, people are terrible.
Yeah.
I've had a bad hangover, and it was when I had Southern Comfort with chasing it with water, and that's not a good idea.
No.
The kind of thing where you feel sound, that's not good. Yeah, so you learn at some point in life, usually.
Utah for Trump.
They just showed Montana for Trump here.
Yeah,
shocking.
Trump too.
Yeah, I know. It's like some of them they're already, the people who are doing this behind the scenes are already accounting for those states.
Harris is back 205,000 votes in Georgia.
She's up very slightly in Pennsylvania, but again, on the national broadcast, they're not showing any specifics. She's ahead in Michigan.
MSNBC has her up in Pennsylvania by 28,000 votes and up by 16,000 in Wisconsin.
I think that's what I just saw, yeah. Michigan.
Oh, she seems to be running away with Michigan at 46,000.
Yeah. Wisconsin 15. Yep, that's what they got here too. That's only 35%.
She's back 200,000 votes in North Carolina.
Yep. Yeah, that's 66% in. So
unfortunately, since I have to work tomorrow, I'm gonna have to call it there tonight.
All right. Well, hope you feel better. Get your situation fixed.
I'm gonna hang on another little while, and then I'll probably go as well.
And then it'll be the Mikey show.
The Mikey and Elo show.
Yeah, Mikey, I got to get Winston back over here. He vacated my lap.
So, if y'all were to want a podcast, because we are talking about doing a podcast, and I'm very enthused about it.
Very, very enthused about it.
What kind of, and this is for you guys in the chat, what kind of things would you want us to talk about? Because I've got some topics around history that I think are interesting. And
Civil War history.
Elo, what should we talk about on the podcast? What are some things?
Well, I think that Tim does rants on our
It's
kind of
certainly
current events. So
You rant about
maybe
whatever you want me to rant about.
things
If you wanted me
that
to rant about the Crimean War, I would immediately become an expert. I would read
just
everything
give
on
you
the
some
Crimean War
talking
and then be like,
points.
"Those motherfuckers!"
I know a little bit about the Crimean War, but that's only
Charge of
because I
the
read a
Light
lot of
Brigade.
romance
Fucking Sevastopol.
novels.
Just give you some talking points. I know, but I
Uh,
guess a podcast is more for when you're trying to get more in depth on things. So, rather than just like a 5 to 10 minute rant. So things that fall into
Say,
that
we
realm.
want to know where you would escape if the orange peel wins. I'm staying in South Carolina. I have been in Republican areas before. They need me here, so I'm not leaving.
Well, I'll tell you, I'm leaving Texas one way or another, but this kid has to graduate high school before I can do that. This one behind me. Where is she? You can't see her. Yeah.
Nah.
There she is.
Waves. Hi.
That kid. She's got to graduate before I can leave.
Oh.
Yeah.
But
Are we all petering out? We're gonna
getting
go ahead and kill the live stream.
Well, I don't know. I mean, I don't know what time Jen usually gets up. She said she might try to stop in, but she didn't give any specifics.
I just knew there was a car there for me, and we show
And
up.
she felt crummy, so.
If Mars is an option, I would indeed colonize Mars, just so we're clear. But I would have colonized Mars many years ago. I read The Young Astronauts as a child, which was a great series about a bunch of teenagers colonizing Mars. And I desperately wanted to be one of those teenagers.
That reverberated.
I would only colonize Mars if there were 3-titted women, like in Total Recall.
Fair enough. Although with plastic surgery these days, I bet we could make that happen.
Yeah.
I was lucky enough to be one of the
Pondering.
Yeah, Mike Capazzi, as my great-great-grandma 5 times back, was born near Rocket Hill in 1740. Ain't going nowhere. Same. Like, my people are from South Carolina. This is my state.
We're rambling people, I'll tell you. We went from every generation kept moving west since 1840 something, 30 something, from Kentucky, set off. Every generation went west on one or two states. So that's us. So we ramble and we'll be rambling on. Out of Texas.
Rambling fever. Sorry, I won't
sing. Yep. Okay, now he's up in Pennsylvania, but that's still like way so close. They're not really showing maps yet. So, county maps, they haven't got real in depth in this. Maybe they will be soon.
So, all right. Let's do another fun fact. Elo, give me a fun fact about women's suffrage.
A fun fact about women's suffrage. Oh, geez. Well, I don't know. It wasn't all that fun.
Yeah, no.
I can't remember being as I can't. I'd have to go.
Tell us about your governor.
Oh, our governor. Well, it turned she ended up being the governor because her husband had died. So that was her way. Like, I guess they did that with, there were presidents that were sort of incapacitated and their wife was actually really kind of running the show.
Yeah.
Well, except in Wyoming's case, they said, oh, well, she actually can be the official person running the show. Oh, well, I think I told the story before about how I had an ancestor whose nose was bitten off by a bear.
Yeah, that's a fun one. Tell that story. That's a good fun fact.
He was up and this was in the Black Hills in Wyoming, which was just across the border from South Dakota. And he was out hunting and he came up on a bear and he scrapped with this bear and it bit off his nose. And he survived, but that was because he had to he had to take his hand down from blocking his face so he could grab his knife. So when he wrote a letter to the governor asking for help because this had happened to him. And there wasn't things like Social Security at that point in time. It was the 1920s. Then he wrote the letter to the governor was to Nellie Taylor Ross, the first governor, first female governor, as it turned out, asking for help. And I'm actually not sure what happened with that. I'd have to. That's in another file at the state library in Wyoming, I'm sure.
So, having somebody's nose bitten off is very much a fun fact.
He had a false nose. There were pictures of him with this thing, and it's strapped around his face.
Yeah. So yep. I will give you a fun fact about my ancestor.
All right.
So when we talk about ancestors, I have an ancestor that died in the Civil War in 1861, likely of some sort of disease in a camp near Georgetown. His wife, who had 2 small children because he was a young man, drove to Georgetown in a wagon by herself and picked up his body in the middle of a war. So that's a fun fact about my ancestor.
Interesting.
Now, the other fact about that same one, I think it was his father, James Hannah's father, was, and I love family histories like this because I have what I call the Big Orange Book of Hannah's, which is a history book of my people, and his father was lived separately from his wife at the end of their lives. They did not like each other, and he was apparently not a nice person, and went to jail. Well, he was fined for assaulting a woman. So I assume that he was a drunk and not a nice person.
Not good. There's lots of stuff like that when I study genealogy that, you think that people didn't ever get divorced. Well, of course, people did get divorced all the time. But, like as mentioned before, women would have to give up their kids a lot of times in order to make that happen, to get away from somebody who was abusive and whatnot. But, people are, again, more complicated than they usually come across at first. So, divorce was a thing and abuse was a thing, of course.
Yeah. And like I said, my people didn't get a divorce, but they lived separately.
Yeah. And that happened too, where one party would say that they were widowed potentially, or sometimes they would say they were divorced, or sometimes they would say they were married, but then the other person is not with them. So what the hell happened? And so you'd find them someplace else, and sometimes they'd have another family. You never know.
Yeah. What I think happened is that the wife moved in with a child. The husband remained in the house.
Yeah, that would happen. And that's how a lot of people had those extended families where they would live with multiple generations. And it would be because the spouse was gone and the wife would live with her parents and her kids and sometimes some of her siblings. And you'd have a multi-generational household because that's the way you could get by and survive.
Yeah. Yep.
Would be to live in a big house.
Yeah, I've got my Mike Capazzi says my great grandfather's brother died in a POW camp in Elmira a month before the end of the war. He's buried down there. We have his grave number not far from the point. Well, the fun fact is when Sherman was going through Georgia and trying to march to the sea, they shipped the people from Andersonville to South Carolina. The Union soldiers
evacuated them basically.
Yeah, evacuated. The Florence National Cemetery in South Carolina, there are a lot of Union dead buried there because they were starving and it was the end of the war and people were dying because Andersonville. And so I did not realize until I saw an episode of History Detectives on PBS that the Florence National Cemetery started because it was essentially a mass grave for Union POWs.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, Andersonville was the most lethal one of all. But of course, most of you, I believe it was a thing in the Civil War. Most of the people who died of disease, but especially in
prison
prisons.
camps.
Mhm.
I
And they would tend to bury them where they were because it's wartime, and trying to ship them back to where they're from is a logistical impossibility. So definitely, one of my ancestors was from Iowa. And when I looked him up and I found he had Union, veteran papers. And even though he was I think he was 60 years old or almost 70 years old, but there were regiments of what they'd call graybeards, and they would have a units of just old guys.
Yeah.
And he was one of those, and he died out in St. Louis or someplace of disease, I'm sure, but not helped by the fact that they were old. That's pretty old for that time, obviously. Yeah. But I don't have a lot of direct military ancestors. That's just not us. It's kind of
I do.
But it's true. Not in my direct family.
My generation is really the first generation that doesn't have very much service in my family, because my dad served in Vietnam. Both of my grandfathers were in World War II, and one grandmother. I will do a episode on the waves on our podcast.
Right. Yep, that would be awesome. We should do some of that for
because I am obsessed, because Dorothy Lee Poston was in the waves, and she told me the stories and stuff, so I loved it. That's my dad's mama. The war times are interesting. Okay, gang, it is 10:15.
Yep, you're turning into a pumpkin.
And I'm gonna turn into a pumpkin.
Okay.
And I've had drinks which make sleepy. So it's been delightful spending time with everybody. Hopefully we'll wake up with a decision one way or the other tomorrow, and we'll know which way to go.
I don't know.
Of 2000,
I think we're going to wake up and it's still not going to be decided.
Yep.
I was addicted to box wine for a while, just waiting for Bush and Gore to sort
Okay, wait. What kind of box?
Franzia. Yep. The dry red.
We always do a Franzia face.
All right. I think Boda Box is the one that my wife and I kind of enjoy from time to time.
Well,
I used to make fun of wine in a box, and then I had some, and I was like, "This is fucking great."
This is the stuff that I usually coast with.
Like I said, I'm a cider girly, so
I love cider too.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye.
All right. Well, however long you want to hang on, because